that F1 2020 was, and the excitement of F1 23. We are in for the sprint qualifying session at Brazil. A fight for the sprint pole. Sprint for any people unaware of the point system. It's 8 points for the top 8. Starting with 8 and counting down to 1 for position 8. So not many points on offer, but points still up for grabs. Alright, everyone's probably going to go out on the soft. Weather looks clear as well here. Let me go through and make sure everyone here is on the friends list. Why is it not letting me? Hello? Whoa. What the f... What the hell happened there? Did I get glitched out of the session? Hello? All I wanted to do was view the gamer card. What the hell was that? I hate this song. Alright. Let's see if it'll let me do it now. Lando Norris, view gamer card. Add. Let me make sure all these guys are added. Let me make sure they're not on laps as well. Once again, to anyone driving out there, if you don't have this account added or haven't sent it a friend request, then I will not be able to invite you back into game in the case of an emergency disconnect or such. Okay, Nico. Just doing some admin things with the account while I'm here. Just Johnny R's out already. Crash in the pit lane, that's putting him out on circuit. And I know I'm missing the early runs in qualifying here, but this is something that really has to get done. Unfortunately, it's not really... Well, it is down to me to add people. I know I have Kai added on this account, I believe. That I do. Yellow flags. It's been there for someone who was on a lap as well, I believe. Andreas, I have added 1087 for rules. Straight at the bat, Andreas. Close to that. 1088. Hampan immediately goes top with a 1086. Okay, Skalan is on a lap, but it is invalid. So let me get the details up. Is he going for another run? He is, and so I will not add anyone else to the friends list. I've added a wave of people here, and I will continue to add them in the future. But for now, Scalan on a lap, trying to recover something. Fuel warning hasn't appeared yet, so plenty of fuel in that car. Hammer as well out on track. What will the Mercedes be able to do on this first run? To the line. P4, decent lap. He said 108.8, 108.6 is what he feels he'll be able to get in qualifying. And he's only 2 tenths off pole. He is in the mix here, despite running a weaker setup. Hammer with more pace than expected. Rules into the pits. Spoony will be into the pits this lap. Anyone actually on laps? Sage just gone through to finish a lap. Lando is just starting a lap. Let's see what Williams can do. That is a car facing the wrong way. That would be Zaid. Gone for a bit of a spin. Probably woke Lando up. So Lando clean through Sector 1 then. As we head into Sector 2, he flexes the steering wheel right, slams it down 2 gears, elegantly slams it down 2 gears, running quite an unstable setup. Lando, who I believe does a bit of real life racing as well in cadet karts. Big up to him. I wish him all the best with that. Purple middle for Lando. Putting pedal to metal. Throwing the gauntlet down. Using everything he has at his disposal. And that is a 108.1. He won't be in this division for long. There's no way he'll be in this division for long. Zaid coming to end the lap. Indeed, coming to end the lap. See a couple drivers on out laps. Scalan, I will now add to the friends list. On the list, A51. Let's add you, my big man. Sound a bit sus, just like add you, big man. What I should be saying. Lando I've added. I believe I have Lando added. Yes, I do. And Spoony. Spoony's added. I don't know that, but let's double check. Yeah. Rules added. Hammer's added, Andreas is added, Ty's added. Alright, that's all of that done then. As Zaid retires. Ooh, that's at turn 2, entering onto turn 3. What has happened? To the Red Bull of Zaid. Must have just lost it. There's a driver come through turn 1. Hang on. Let's see. Yep, just lost the back end on transition between 2 and 3. Corner that's caught a lot of people out in this game. Ooh, wide and invalid. Perfect sector 1 as well for Howak. Thomas in sector 2 is going. But unable to convert. Scalan on an outlap is allowed to pass. We've got Kai bringing up the rear of the field right now. He won't want to be there for long, and I'm sure there was a mistake of some kind on that lap. Spoony is P3. Hapan's early lap, keeping him up there. Oh, excuse me. Of course, this is a track that balances the difference between pad and wheel out phenomenally, better than any other track on the grid. This is where pad runners can truly show what pace they have, because you can practice for hours and hours on a wheel around this track. I say this every time we come here, but you practice for hours and hours and hours, and you just find a limit. But on controller, you come in straight away and you have that pace. Yeah, you can't build on it, but that's the difference. It's how consistent you can be as a wheel player hopping onto it first time. Controller, decent controller player should be able to keep it consistent. Good. Got yellow flags for traffic. Hammer just starting flying lap. We've got many drivers completing their laps. I think Lando's on an out lap. 108.2 for Andreas actually. I didn't see that, my apologies. That's put him within just under a tenth and a quarter. 12 hundredths of a second behind Lando, but Lando is on an out lap. So we've got drivers coming to the line. Let's see what this does. Hampan goes up ahead of Spoonie now. We do have the Ferrari of Kai, dives into the pits. He's just coming down the main straight. Whoever it is, they see no improvement. No, it's Lando starting a lap. Boy on an out lap. Hammer is on a flyer. That's what Mercedes can do for that long downhill left, of course, where Max had his first moment in Formula 1. Drifting through there. Power sliding is probably the better word. As into the pits comes Hammer, no improvement seen. Tomboy on a flyer. Same can be said for Lando. Hampan on an in-lap. Let's see what Lando's able to do. Oh, going for a double warm-up. Smart stuff from Lando. But also at the same time, that extra couple percent he will get on his tyres will affect him by about half a tenth. What I'd rather do is I'd rather adapt the pressures for Polly so that the tyres operate nicely at cool temperatures, and then just about get to the point where they start to lose performance, or would start to lose performance with a couple more corners. Of course, the middle sector is relenting round there, so you have to keep your tyres in a decent window for the whole lap. Lando will look to do just that. The apex quite a bit there, but still carrying immense apex speed. The minimum speed was up due to the fact he missed the apex, and that's only helped him on the run towards the fourth gear right-hander into the second gear right-hander. Shacking on the lot, bullying and traction control. That's a Red Bull having a bit of a weight there. So that Lando pass. From the Red Bull. Lando using all the track, minimum scrub on the tyres, on maximum efficiency on the straights, and he will look to do that here again. This has been an extremely clean lap from the Williams so far. Someone's called in it to see if he's up. No, not an improvement for Lando, so he calls it and dives into the pits. Tomboy P8 now. 51 will look to improve on this lap that he is now starting. Got McLaren, Andreas diving into the pits here, I believe. No, stays out. So Andreas is on a flyer. No, out lap. So A51 on a out lap. Matty, I believe, maybe on an in lap here. We've got Hawak invalid again. Matty on a 110.4 struggling for a little bit of pace here. Have Andreas on a lap, he's 6 tenths up. No, that was a lie from the game. For some reason, everyone goes for double warm-ups in this game. If you've got the tyre pressures right, they should be warm just from a decent decently well pushed out lap. You can't say one push out lap is just too slow, because wear-wise it is not good. As A51 moves his way up, Hawak looking to start a lap here, and start one that hopefully for his sake will be valid, because his teammate is on the sharp end as of man. That is ruthless from the game there. It's qualifying him from the session from 13th as he is stuck. See, that's where I think a reset to track would have been allowed, but what? How on earth has he ended up there? Along the left there. Oh word. That's Hawak still valid on this lap, on this attempt. Will there be an improvement for Williams? As the runners that survived in this sprint qualifying session so far, it is a Williams sandwich on the grid. We'll look to make it somewhat of an irregular sandwich. Let's see how irregular this sandwich can be. Sandwiches aside, tell them hungry, can't you? Goes P11. Still edible. Speaking of, has anyone ever tried a toast sandwich? Bit odd. So you have the bread, you know, you butter the bread like usual, and then you make a slice of toast, and then you butter both sides of that slice of toast. Put anything like peanut butter, jam on it. Sort of make the toast as you would in the morning. Not Marmite though, Marmite. Bread toast sandwich would be horrible. And then you mash them together, time double dates, and then you mash them together and you've got a toast sandwich. And honestly, the texture is so nice. If you get good bread, it is. Andres has actually gone closer here. So Lando may be under threat for pole here. Andres has shrunk that gap, and that gap that Lando normally has is far less here, due to the fact that oh Jesus, voice cracks. Due to the fact that this is one of the most balanced tracks on the game. I'd say it's perfectly balanced, really. As well as the pad users are one and the same here. To the line goes Spoonie, to the line goes Hampan, who is as well on decent pace here. Stewart and A51 retire in the pits, unable to make any improvements. A51 will have to settle with that position, saving a set soft maybe for the race. We've got people coming to the line now. Let's see if there are any improvements on the timing tower. So far none. Still so far none. That's a car facing the wrong way. That's Lando. Lando's beached it. That's another spin there in sympathy for an Aston Martin of Hampan, who is now looking at Lando and does reset the track. Lando needs to get going. He needs to reset the track. He must. He's got to reset from track. Matty retires as well. It's all kicking off late here in quali, and Lando does reset to track. And I believe Lando waited. Hampan as well was stuck there. I believe Lando is well within his rights there to reset the track 100%. The spin there as well. It's all kicking off here. Tomboy facing the wrong way now. And Lando is lucky. Truly. But I believe there should be no post-race penalty for that. Because in my opinion, he was stuck. He was beached. He was going to get disqualified unfairly when they wouldn't disqualify you in real life. They just tow you. So yeah, it'll be the end of this session in real life, but you wouldn't start from the back of the grid. But controversy aside, not really controversy. Lando did what he had to. That was his only option to stay at the sharp end of the grid, which is where he will start for the 12-lap sprint. Will he be able to keep it with Andreas Spooney, H5, Hammer, Hampan, all being within a tenth and a half, I believe, 2.5 tenths, sorry, just top 5 and 2.5 tenths of each other. That is how tight the margins are here. But will Lando be able to keep it, or will those other pesky other 16 drivers be able to do anything about it? He won't want them to, and he will try his best to prevent anything, any attacks from having an effect. But again, to mention it last, weather may play a huge factor. We may see some drivers be running wet setups. Maybe that's why Lando's gap's not as big as usual. Maybe that's why the likes of Keynes are so far back. Although Keynes just had some spins. Look at that. Top 12 separated by less than 9 tenths. We have a barnstormer of a race, of a sprint on our hands. A sprint race that still awards points to the top 8 and still provides us with 12 laps of excitement and intrigue and mystery as to what the strategy will be. Will anyone go hard to try and make the most of the late race? Oh, excuse me, again, do they? Well, take advantage of the late race. It's putting... Why has it put me in a car? I've selected spectate. What is this? I have selected spectate this time. There is proof of it in the lobby. I just... bugger. Alright, apologies for the delay that there was there in me saying anything. So I, once again, will be last on the grid, joining the race as it was in Division 1, I believe it was. Yes, Division 1. Or was it Division 2 last week? It might have been. I can't remember. So I will be in for a penny, in for a pound, in for the formation lap. And I've seen the weather, you've seen the weather. Conditions are good. I'll be retiring in the pits on that one.
Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears. So go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please.
Not like there's 6 people watching. I hate this track. Make sure the tyres aren't astronomically cold here for the first lap. See already, you can see the sun shining through the clouds. This is going to be interesting as to how it goes. Both race starts will be viewed from the back of the grid. Pending anyone getting disqualified, cool. Which would mean a restart for the race. As if I don't start last. Oh yeah. This Renault engine sounds horrible. Now just showing up. As far back as I can. And let's watch the chaos unfold in front of us. It's 5 red lights, it's HRA Division 2. For the 12 lap sprint. Lights out and away we go. Nearly joined in there. I'm just going to sit back here. The race can happen as it wants to happen. There is absolute chaos. That's Howat getting half spun off. That's a Ferrari, a Spoonie, getting half spun off there. A Zaid getting spun off as well. All kicking off here. That's Rogue Nico going wide. He's got no front wing on that car. Take out all the brake markers, why don't we? They won't be a threat. They won't be a threat. We'll dive into the pits here.
Stay alert for threats around you.
Shut up. God, it's so hard to count slides on this game. Retire. Lando leads the way. Rules A51 Hampan and Andreas Hammer as well getting involved in the fight. I've been thrusted straight into the action here. She's out. Oh, off. Hampan out. And that's someone getting spun there. Tomboy getting hit and spun. Was that Scalan hitting him? It must have been. Full safety car deployed. And now Now, with the dry weather on its way. My AI causing a bit of chaos. Apologies for that, Zaid. Hopefully no damage on the car. Yeah, definitely. Pan out after such a good qualifying, struggling in the wet. So we know what the weather is like. We know the rain will stop falling very, very soon. Only 2 segments in this race are wet, so that's going to stop right about now. So I believe it's 8 segments in this game for weather. And so we should see the rain stop at any point. So does anyone gamble on slicks here? It's going to be about 7 to 8 seconds a lap slower. So if the rain stops, I'd do it. Truly, if the rain stopped, I'd be in the pits. We've got a couple laps. Who's this next in the pits? Johnny R. Broke Nico as well without a front wing. Our son sipping the very drink advertised on this car. It is sitting in a solid P3. A5 again, A51 doing it yet again. He's found himself up into a nice position. He's a genuine challenger here. But McLaren, the 2 McLarens now, yes, McLaren are being extremely successful, and I'm sure their manager will be elated with their performance. But one thing that we are forgetting is the crossover point is coming. There's still rain falling here. But when the crossover point comes, only one person can get priority into the pits. And that will severely affect your race, because it will be softs. Really, it will be softs at the end. There is still rain falling, but for how much longer? The clouds are still overhead. We still have the overcast conditions here. The sun was poking through the clouds while I was out there. All of this is going to make for an extremely intriguing end here. Zaid has done it. Zaid is on slicks then. The first and only to make this gamble so far. And it's how much can Zaid gain to the safety car in this period. Because although, yes, it's still raining, if he pits now, it will ruin the race. So he has to stay out, and he will stay out here. And he will look to endure this. Wet on slicks, what could possibly go wrong? Taking extreme care. So the reason why cars have threaded tyres, like the intermediate, like the full wet, is because there is a layer of water between the tarmac and tyre, and so there needs to be some form of tread to disperse that water, to flick it off anywhere other than underneath the tyre, which creates the immense spray we see from modern Formula 1 cars make. And a lot of people are coming in now. A lot of people will be gambling for the slick. They've all joined Zaid, and they are all bolting the medium on. Zaid has made an inspired decision here, because the rain has stopped. No more rain. And so dries will be the optimal tyre. Just about if Zaid can make his way, because he was coming around the last corner at this point. So he is going to be close. Ooh, big snap there for Zaid, whose tyres are also going to be more up to temperature. So gone will be the position change graphic, and that will be the tyre graphic. So Tomboy, Keys, and Zaid all on the mediums. Hawak, Galan and Johnny R all bolting on the soft compounded tyre. The sun is shining and the track is drying. Safety car is in this lap and Zaid will be on the back of the pack. Just in time, I think, to make advantage of these tyres, and despite that, I think we are going to see a lot of people dive into the pits here. We will see an alternate winner to this race, but who? Who will take home the 8 points for the sprint win? Only time will tell, and Lando has gone then. Zaid unable to catch up to the pack, but in the here and now, Lando leads the way, followed by Rules, Andreas, Hammer. We've got 4 drivers into the pits. That promotes Tomboy and Keynes, Hawak, Skalan, Johnny R and Zaid all the way up the field then. And the leaders have bolted. But the split runners are sticking with the inter runners. It is slick tyres. That is for sure. It's just who has made the right call. Skalan on the softer compounded tyre will have so much more pace. Roughly a second a lap more, as that's a penalty for A51. I believe that may have been a corner cutting penalty. Quickly, 5 seconds for A5. That may hurt his race bad here, but he will still gain a massive amount of time from this. And it's just one of the McLarens is going to be hung out to dry here. It's going to be Andreas, because the inter runners, one of them will be into the pits. Will Andreas? Yes, it's going to be a double stack for McLaren. This is crucial. Lando goes fastest. So then, the baton is passed to Tomboy. Keynes and Skalan, top 3 on the net. Lando knows it's not quite into crossover point yet, but now here we go. Tomboy is gaining. The crossover point is now. DRS still hasn't been enabled though, but we are fresh off the safety car period, so there isn't that luxury, that comfort that you usually have when you are resuming from under safety car, of knowing, or under VFC, or just wet to dry conditions. You can tell when it's crossover point, when its dries are counted by the game as the faster tyre, because DRS is enabled, but we don't have that because we are fresh off the back of a safety car earlier in this race for Hampan's crash. So then, Lando will dive into the pits here. He's bullying the ERS. He knows he'll regenerate something to the pits. Lando stays out. Lando is going to try it. A brave maneuver from Lando Norris. Will it carry? Keynes goes fastest. Tomboy will need to drive like a man possessed here, because the tyres on Lando's car are going to start overheating, start struggling. And despite being on the wrong tyre compound, will he be able to hold the lead of this race? The cars behind need to catch by about 2 seconds a lap. And it's looking unlikely. Lando is wrestling the car now. There is only so much someone can get out of a car, and even the driver of Lando's caliber will struggle in conditions like this, greatly struggle. Keynes though, with arguably more pace than Tomboy here, will look to move his way up, because they have gained a whopping 1.7, 1.8, well yeah, settling at 1.9. Coming up on nearly 2 seconds they've gained. Okay, about 1.7 they've gained on this lap. Lando bullying the RS here. Keynes gets past. Keynes is now up into the net lead, and that doesn't stand good for Lando, because the trailing pair are working together here. A51, no rules, goes fastest. Takes it off A5. there is battling up and down the grid. We've got a battle here for P2. We've got a battle for P4. We've got a battle for P8. We've got a battle for P10. We've got a battle for P14. All 2-car fights. But all of which only one car will come out ahead at the flag. As obvious as it sounds and straightforward as it sounds, it's anything but that in a battle, in a league race, and Rosenthal made it look simple as I made it sound. Stuart running wide there, so Tomboy out of the DRS, and it's not really worked out for Lando, who's dropping off here big time. Yellow flags, that's Matty having a spin. Will Lando drive into the pits? No, he will brave it out. His tyres will be shredded come the end of this stint. And I think he may drop down out of the top 4 maybe here. Keen's still closing. Tomboy has dropped off a bit. Keen's pace is strong. Tomboy will catch, I reckon, just about. Yes. Johnny R. rules. Andreas goes fastest again, looking to make his way up. This is the fight here for the last 2 point playing positions. 3 cars involved in that fight. It's a Red Bull, an AlphaTauri, and a McLaren. And a McLaren who's shown plenty of pace all the way throughout this event, but is extremely low on ERS. But on the soft compounded tyre, will he spring and move here? No, doesn't force Johnny R. Blind Johnny R. Sticks to his guns then. Yellow flags for Matty retiring in the pit lane. And here we go then. He's gained 3 seconds on this lap. And Lando bullying the RS in an attempt to stay ahead for as long as possible. But he's got so much less grip. Keens looks to the inside. And Lando will make that car as wide as possible here. But he just has so much less grip. And Keens with the correct tyre. This is why you don't run shredded tyres in the driver. It was a bold strategy call from Lando. And it will probably gain him on the net, because the next car behind him, I believe, is A51. And he will finish ahead of him. So he has made the most of this so far. A51 and Howard battling. A5 had it for a second, but Howard defended it for all his might. This is now a multi-car fight for P5. The fight for P8 has settled down a bit. Rules past Johnny R, who's just sitting outside the point. A51 all over the back of Howard. Looks to the inside, thinks better of it, but better traction. Will he get a better exit and a run down the hill? He's all over the back of Howard, going into the final braking zone of the lap. A very, very smooth arc there for A5, and he's all over the back of Howard. The Williams driver will have to look to go defensive here, and does. Both have the ERS light flashing, and it looks like A51 is up ahead going into the braking zone, but Howard will look to respond. Lando has dropped down to P3. Scalan is all over the back of him on this last lap. Will Lando be able to fend off Scalan? I don't think so, personally. But Lando, a driver with many talents, fire defense, one that he's not shown off much in this league. It's a great defense as that Scalan looking to the outside. Will Scalan dive it down the inside? Has a little look, but is just struggling to get up ahead of Lando here. He's got just a few more corners to do so, but Lando will get a terrible, dreadful exit out here. So Scalan will get the switchback and will be on the ERS button. Yellow flag, that's a spin. That's A5. Spinning, and this is Lando Norris getting a better run. Keens will take the flag and win the sprint, but Lando will somehow hold P3. A5 again, the last lap curse strikes. Who was that getting a 20-second time penalty? That's Spoonie getting a massive penalty. Keane gets driver of the day. Lando did a good job to hold that. Really, really did. So he will take the win in this sprint. He takes pole position for the race and 8 points. Fastest lap didn't go to anyone within the top 8, and so the point will not be awarded, as it was Andreas who got it. A5 spinning out the points. I would say that gifted the AlphaTauri the points, but Hammer made his way up past Johnny R, and that was enough for Hammer to snatch the final point. This is going to be an exciting one. We've got 2 cars who are slower than Lando, and 2 cars. Keens didn't really get a good quali. Scalan, Zaid, who've got so many cars out of position. Johnny R's out of position. We've got some drives who started near the front, starting at the back. Hampan, the big one. He will look to move his way up the grid then. So get ready for the race. Yet again, we will have our pause, so please do not ready up if you are a driver. If you are a driver, good luck. Dry race through and through. That is your weather forecast. And it is a forecast for dry weather. We fit the soft, so I got lots of grip here. Just the fuel load, not like it's going to make any difference. And let's do something that everyone should do. Brake bias as well. I'll help with car control. Run a regulated pressure, and if you don't know what pressure to put in the tyres, what you do is you hop into time trial and you see what the softs are doing temperature wise, and you want your tyres to match that. You want them to sit about two above or 2 below, and then every tyre likes to be 2 degrees cooler than the one above it. So the medium, say tyres want to be 98 here internally for carcass temperature. For the softs, mediums will want to be 94, hards will want mediums will want to be 96, hards will want to be 94. And so you tend to fluctuate it, and you prioritize a tire. So say I wanted to make the hard tire, so I'd have the pressures a bit higher if you wanted to prioritize the hard, as I did in the realistic. If anyone watched my practice sessions, they would have known, seen I was very, very frustrated, but also at the same time, I was prioritizing that hard, and it made me mad and very angry how hard it was to deal with. But in the end, pardon me, I settled on wings that I was happy with, and I settled on a very offset, 2 clicks offset. So my right tires were 2 clicks higher than my left because of how much you bully the left side. So you want less pressure, which keeps the temperature lower. And so I was keeping them at 92 internal all around, 92 to 94 throughout the whole lap, and it just went like a dream on hard tyres. Which of course I was only on them for a little while before bolting the mediums back on, but it's neither here nor there. And then I bolted the softs on late race and went on a bit of a charge after taking LFC out of the race, which again, 100% my fault. I didn't think so at the time, and I didn't think so. Hammer will vouch in the chat that I was looking through my replay, and I was like, no, that's not my fault, that's not my fault. It took one look through LFCs, and he'll tell you blunt, I just said, yeah, that's my fault. Because ultimately, the best thing you can do when you are at fault is admit it. It makes league racing more fun because you don't have to fight something and not enjoy it because, you know, you crash someone out. Yeah, but you don't want to admit it, so you argue and argue and argue, then you get annoyed and leave. But if you keep everything fun and you're honest, it just keeps it fun, even when I know I've messed up. I messed up. Fact is, I misjudged the situation, and that happens quite a lot, especially for a driver like me, who's quick but not really consistent. It's just about being the better person even when you're wrong. And it's not for wanting to be humble bumble. It's just the best thing to do. It saves stewards time, and you'll go away happy knowing that you told the truth, because ultimately telling the truth does make you happier. Overcast all the way throughout. Overcast with the sun shining through a little bit. So consistent weather. Let's add some more wang to the front, shall we? Take some of that diff off. Let's go 65-50. Should be right, left. Yeah. Happy with that. Let's put a bit more pressure in so they warm up quicker. As we are ready and up, preparing to go green. Orderly formation lap. Starting at the back again.
Negative. Stay out. This is the formation lap. We cannot work on the car. There's no reason to come in. Do not box. Negative box. Okay, so everything looks good on the power unit cycles. So let's concentrate on bringing tyres and brakes up to temperature.
Everything goes AFK, isn't it? Oh, by hand pan. Oh dear, Ninja. Oh dear. I'm excited to see what the driver ahead of me can do in this race. Hard tyres. He's gone alternate. And he will look.
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions look good.
Up near the front.
Sorry?
The hell out of
no, don't do that. What good would that do? We can't do anything to the car, and we have a race to get on with. Do not try to come in. Just form up on the grid, okay? Negative. Stay out. This is the formation lap. We cannot work on the car. There's no reason to come in. Do not box. Negative box.
Remember, I'm not racing. I am here to spectate the chaos on that one. Got massively off the back. Start going. And just in case if anyone spins, so I've got time to react. Ooh, bumping up and down the grid. That's Hampan and Kai getting involved in some kerfuffles. That's a big crash. A5, Stewart and Matty are all involved in it.
Okay, there's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are so far no plans for a safety car.
Just over close to me. Goes well for me as Comienzo.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
Into it this lap. Matty is out again. Matty was just a horrible luck. Out on the sprint. Out in the race. Ray joins the session. Woo, boy, there she goes.
Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please.
Keynes leads. Lando already up past Scalan. And Rolls is right there. And then let's have a look at the tyres. Hards for the top four. Kawak going alternate. And hards for Hammer and Tomboy. After Hampan, Zaid and Stewart. Hampan already up a massive amount of position. Hampan has moved up 6, Kai up 5, Nico up 5, Andreas up 8. Some big movers. Tomboy down 5 after starting P2. It's not been a good start. Starting P4, my apologies. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he started P2. Scalan started. And so there must have been a spin of some kind. I'm going to find a bottle to pour the rest of this Red Bull in and save it for another day because I have enough energy. I have enough energy. That's the thing with my relationship with energy drinks and my mind and my headaches not liking them. I don't get to drink them often. So when I do, I just pour them into a bottle and I will make this Red Bull last me a week. And it means I also don't have a crippling caffeine addiction. I'm not sure what I think of that, honestly. It doesn't look pleasant. It looks like someone's not been able to hold it in on a road trip and found the nearest bottle. That's no, that's grim, but just describing what I'm seeing. As safety car doesn't come in here, I'm gonna go for a wee. Ow! I'm gonna be bouncing up and down in my chair. Not from the energy from the drink. Well, partly from the excitement of this race, admittedly. We've got the prospect of a good one on our hands. And Keynes will be the one to define that. I'd go now if I was Keynes. Catch Lando off guard. Kai gets a penalty for colliding with Nico and he's stuck in the barrier. Oh, Kai. He's been caught out by the safety car restart. That's it, Lando. But here comes Rules on Scalan. Side by side heading into one. Rules down the inside. Scalan try his best to hold on to it. And does, and rightfully holds position when it's his. Unlike the Hamilton-Verstappen incident in 2022. That was, oh, 3 wide. We're 3 wide. I'm talking about incidents in real life, but in game. We went momentarily 3 wide there. Here we go. Kai retires in the pits. Sadly for him. Not the day he would have wanted. under any point of imagination, but Skalan keeping his nose in here. But in the end, it was the position for rules as Hammer and Hawak going side by side. Hammer holding around the outside. Hawak leaves space. Hammer runs a little bit wide. Holds the position though. All fair so far. Maybe a little bit too off track for Hammer there, but Hawak can challenge that if he wishes. Hammer out of position. Andreas losing out to Tomboy actually, who I believe was defending for position there. My apologies. Here comes Andreas then. He's up the inside of Tomboy. ERS being deployed. Here comes Lando for the lead of the race. Lando has taken it on lap 5. He's back up to the lead. Andreas is past Skalan into turn 1. Andreas already harbouring a 5-second time penalty. Then there is your tyre compound. And you can see Andreas in compound is how plenty more grip on that McLaren. He's looking to the outside up the hill. Hawak squeezes him. I'd say unfairly squeezes him in my opinion, as that's wide for Skalan. Hammer will look to pounce. Hammer, after thinking it'll be a bad race, is sitting comfortably in P5 right now, with the pace really to be sitting in P3 right now. It's a great race so far for Hammer. Hampan, the first of the drivers on free. Apologies for that. My dad just let me know to call my car and the driver there. Gonna get going to a camping site. Skalan has been passed and is now forming a bit of a train here. Forming in that train is Hawak, Andreas, Tomboy, Nico and Zaid. The first of which, Hawak, is past Skalan, who now has Andreas looking to the outside. Bold move, as always, from Andreas. Hasn't paid off here, but he will get the switchback and the DRS. That's yellow flag. That's Zaid round. It's not been a good race so far for the Red Bull cars. In fact, it's been a horrible race for Red Bull. They're sitting 13th. Their cars are sitting 12, 13, 14, 15th. They're the last of the runners here. So recovery drive needed from all the Red Bull cars. Admittedly though, Johnny R is near the back of the pack. Here, Hampan and Spoonie, a fight that's going to be going on. Skalan and Andreas, Nico and Tomboy. Tom looking to defend this position. That's Andreas down the inside at Albon corner. My word, what an overtake there. And I know that's not the correct name, don't drill me, but it's Albon corner. That's here. Quite a hefty train. Look at that result. 1, 2, 3. I believe that's 9 cars all within DRS of each other. 9-car train, sorry, behind Hammer. Hawak first of them on the medium, same for Andreas on the mediums. That's a spin there for Spoonie. May promote Zaid back up a position. Certainly promotes Johnny R position. So he's now 1 off the point. Hampan looking to make a recovery here. He is in the train that has a direct connection. Thank you. He is in a train that has a direct connection to P4, so he's got that going for him. As Hampan is, yeah, he's pretty much directly connected to P4. Galan has created a bit of a divide for him though. Galan is also partly bringing him into the mix, as that's Zayd retiring from the session there. See what's happened here. No action from the race directors yet. He seems to have just had a spin and called it a day, honestly. And he has retired on track. Look at it, his AI is still moving. Zayd retiring on track then. Having a spin and just calling it a day. Come on. I hate to be that guy, but just pull into the pits. You're one corner away. Get it collected, drive it to the pit lane, end it there. The race goes on and thankfully no interruptions caused. Road Nico gets another time penalty then. Struggle to keep it in truck, then it's there for many. That's a dive there from Nico down the inside of Tomboy. An audacious move, and that's a car Hampan going around. So Hampan, this race has really been hampered, not Hampan. But Hampan did cause the hampering, so we'll call it hampered. Jesus, we'll call it hampered race as he round again. 6th gear, picking up wheel spin there. Andreas into the pits then. Here comes Stewart, passing Hampan. He gives no fight and he's round again. His tyres are melting. He needs to back off big time. Otherwise he may cause issues. Andreas changing the front wing here. And now switching to a... Oh, Nico's round. Nico's round. I went on board with him just the right time. He's dropped it. And he's now down to the last points paying position. Spoonie gets up in position. So does Johnny R and Stellan, who has fought audaciously after being P4 on the restart. That's a spin there for Tomboy. And now that promotes Stellan up to P6. So without doing anything, Stellan 71 has moved up 2 positions in 1 lap. Both Nico and Tomboy both suffering spins that promoted them to lower the points position. Sure, EA out of nowhere is back into the points position. So how about that then? Keen's also sticking with Lando, partially on the same tyre. Well, I shouldn't really say partially, he is sticking with him. 2 seconds the gap there. Massey leads the session. So Spoonie looking to close in on Johnny R. And Johnny R is closing in on Stellan. So Hampan, after looking so strong, he is close to being lapped here. Does have to be careful. Stellan, Johnny R and Spoonie, a fight that is unfolding here for our very eyes. A 3-car fight, 4P6. That's a poor exit there for Johnny R. This will leave Spoonie all over the back of him, out of the last corner. We've had so many spins up and down the grid. There's Nico, Stewart, Hampan, Andreas getting damage. Agency 1 home, damage and a spin. Stewart getting tangled in some incidents. Dade retiring on track. Kai getting tangled on the safety car restart and is out. Matty as well DNFing straight away. So on the second DRS straight, what will the order be? It's still the same. Johnny R is unable to pass the likes of Stellan here. He's doing a good job to fend off these guys behind. This is allowing Road Nico to steadily claw back into play. Kings has lost another P5, but Rules is actually keeping the gap the same. If you measure the gap between Rules and Lando, it's actually closed in by a couple tenths on this lap. So Rules with the pace around Brazil, and he is clawing back the gap on Lando, who I think has had some sort of incident somewhere to be dropping down that far. But this is Rules and Keen, two drivers who don't know that if you're below 10% ERS, you lose deployment and therefore straight line speed. So best to always keep about 50% in the battery. You use like this, you hit 0 deployment and you have no hybrid deployment. That's a spin for Spoonie. And Rogue Nico spins in sympathy then. So Spoonie is spun out in the fight with Stellan and Johnny R. And Stellan going to go back down the inside of Johnny R here. Makes contact with Johnny R. They both go spinning, tumbling down. What is going on in this race? So many spins up and down the grid. This is absolutely hectic. And there's another one. Who's this off? It's Hampan. Often he's got to be careful for the leaders. Sitting there. Got to be careful not to cause a safety car by being stationary for too long. Here comes his teammate. No, not his teammate. Williams and Howak, who will be very thankful for the DRS he's just picked up. Will allow him to keep on closing down on Hammer. But the gap then out front stays the same between Lando and Rules. Actually, I'd say Lando's actually pulled out a bit of a gap as Hampan retires in the pit. Again, just a horrible race with Hampan. Great qualifier, but it just unfolded in the sprint and the race. But a big thank you for retiring in the pits and doing it how it should be done. Same corner Dave had his incident at, but Hampan being the better man, being the better driver, and retiring in the pits. But his AI may cause some issues here for Tomboy and A51 exiting the pits. No, it won't, thankfully. Might do for Andreas, who is on the hards and looking to close down. No issues caused then. So the AI is good. Box A51 and Tomboy. Here comes A51, going to go round the outside of Tomboy. Good move there from A5. He moves up into the points paying positions. So yellow flags for the Hampan car. His teammate Scalan has a Ferrari all over the back of him, literally pushing him round the last corner. Scalan has no ERS to defend this, but he has the drive and the sheer will that has allowed him to send it back up the inside of Johnny R. Did involve it in an entanglement for them. And here comes Scalan. He will look to use everything, but he's run out of deployment here. Of a little burst of ERS from Spoonie. Scalan is unable to do anything about it. Then on to the next battle in this race, and this battle of a little bit more importance relative to the Scalan Spoonie battle. That was the P6. Stuart sets the fastest lap on his fresh soft compound tyre, looking to close in back to the back of the grid then. Back to the pack. Back Keens and Rules. That's why for Rules. This is a fight that's been going on for a while now, and it's causing big issues for Rules because he needs to have better ERS management. And something we've flagged him up for on all season is just having a better understanding for the battery and how it works, because again, when you're below 10% you lose power on the straight and out the corners. Crucially, that's where ERS makes its biggest difference. It's out of the corners you have much less power, so it hurts your overall lap time. So keeping it above 10 is crucial. ERS regen is high, so it sits behind, plays it smart for about 3 or 4 laps, which he won't do. can't watch. I can't watch. Let's watch Andreas Tomboy instead. Andreas up behind Tomboy. 9 laps. Pressure hard for the final points playing position. Andreas looking to make a comeback after the unlucky way the sprint went for him with the weather change. Galan into the pits. Change. Oh, sorry, Howak into the pits. Here comes Andreas down the inside of Tomboy. Easy move there for the McLaren. He's up into the points. Rosnico past Howak here on pit exit. It's going to be tied between the two of them, but Howak will have little to no grip on the exit of the pits here, and so will struggle greatly. Right behind him, Andreas has to do a 26 lap stint on the mediums. It's not impossible, but it's not going to be easy either. Here again. Here comes Rules. Again, out of deployment, losing out on the top end. You're not even getting the benefit of overtake. We're below 10%. Don't use that. I'd say now, if you're gonna, if you're gonna be inefficient with it, at least be efficient with it, you know. Plenty of side misses, so it's a nice battle, and another one forming here between Johnny R and Scalan. This one's sure to create some swift action here for this Brazilian Grand Prix that has been quite interesting in the way of spins, but has sort of lacked a bit of substance so far, but it's still got half of the race distance to go to make it exciting again, to add some spice to the mix. So that you know as well, I will be having to go pretty soon after the race, so there won't be much post-race talk, as this race is going to leave me very, very close to my 10 o'clock cut-off for getting in bed, because healthy routine. Good finish. Here comes Johnny R then. Starting to heat up in the race, and it's starting to heat up in my room as well. Oh my word. Here comes Johnny R. Looking to turn the heat up to 11. Down the inside of Scalan goes Johnny R. Up into P5 then. And after they made contact, just a handful of laps to go at this very corner that's coming up here. And Scalan, he's showing his nose down the inside again. Backs out a bit. Smart from Scalan. He will receive a 5 for that collision with Johnny R, I believe. A couple laps to go, but neither here nor there. Rules is closer, and he has been saving the RS on this lap, and he will dump all of it early on in the initial acceleration phase. Let it off. No. Oh, this is so painful to watch. What's on board with Keynes. He's looking to defend from the McLaren, who's right up behind him, heading into the center S's. It's close to Rules. It is very, very close. But Rules, it pains me, because if he just managed the ERS slightly better, he would be in the golden. He would be second, and he wouldn't be hemorrhaging time to Lando here. To manage the ERS better, that is it. If he waits for a couple of laps, it'll be an easy pass, but just not with the ERS management. And this shows the difference between the cream of the field, the golden boy of Division 2 pace-wise, dominating where the very person who sat in that very car, hyped as he was then, Dom as he's known now in Division 1, the champion who got promoted from Williams again. Williams just a successful team in this league, thanks to their manager. doing bits, creating a positive atmosphere for that team, and ultimately attracting the best to drive from. Rolls into the pits, will look for the undercut on Keynes. And he will want it. Galan has held on to the back of Johnny R here. And he's making Johnny work for this. Johnny made a mistake somewhere up or down the road. So Galan is all over the back of him here. And Johnny R will have a threat to think about going down here. Galan not using the slipstream to effect. Is behind, still behind, but is very close to Johnny R. Johnny's tyres are off a cliff. Yellow flag, that's his spin for Hammer. Hammer's gone round. Being smart, Hammer. Waiting for the tyres to come back. He knows he's looped it. So he's got to be careful. Oh, it's gone again on him. He's got to get the tyres in a good window. He'll dive into the pits here. He must do. Rules gets past him then. And his chance at a net P3 has just slipped away there. But I don't think he'll care. He'll dive into the pits here. It's still a solid position for Hammer. Johnny here. It's just whether Hammer comes out behind Howak, which he will here. Hammer will come out possibly in the net position behind Andreas. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. I think it's going to be Andreas' position here. I think it's going to be Andreas' position. Will Spoonie make his way past? It's going to be tight with Spoonie. It's going to be really tight. Stewart gets a penalty for speeding into the pits. Spoonie is alongside the Mercedes of Hammer, who has dropped all the way down. These two spins have really hurt him. Yellow flags in sector 1. Nothing there, I think, of any issue. It's just A51 getting up to the back of Road Nico, looking to recover some points after an abysmal start to this race. He is going to try and claw something out of this race, and commiserations to him for the start, but also at the same time a big sportsmanship shout out to him for sticking in this, and the determination of A51 has meant that with 13 laps to go, he finds himself in a position where he can recover some points out of this race. So then Rules is ahead of Keynes after the pit stop. Apologies for not mentioning that, and that does release him onto the back of Lando. 3.5 the gap there with 13 laps to go, needing a couple tenths a lap, and so far so good for Rules. But Lando is regenerating, recuperating ERS. I feel a fastest lap attempt coming on here for the Williams driver. That's Hammer now all over the back of Spoonie. So much faster tyres, fresher compound, one step softer. Driving with anger, I'm sure, and anger does only two things for a driver. It's either frustration that makes you lose your head, lose focus, and ultimately be more susceptible to mistakes and lack of pace. It just makes you drive bad all around. Or it's the type of vengeful anger that makes you go to another level. That's what drivers tap into in real life, and that is, I believe, what he's tapping into here as he's side by side with Spoonie into the center S's. Still side by side. Spoonie goes off the track, and Hammer says thank you very much. Sweeps around and ahead of Spoonie then. It's Spoonie with the DRS. ERS might look to respond here, knows this isn't his race. Hammer is up to P6. So that it seems like Norris just about has the pace over Rules here. Only a couple attempts, but it is what it is. Stewart gets time penalty. Penalties will be a huge factor into this race. We can't chalk them off of it. Checking at the time, it's not even 9:30. Plenty of time to relax and watch the racing action here. Flag to Stuart EA. He's spun, he's dropped it, he may need to reset to track here. Hope he doesn't get beached. Nice little flick spin. But his closest rival, Tomboy, is now massively ahead. And might this be the final corners of Stuart's race? I very much think so. Scalan somehow finds his way out of the point. Yellow flag to Stuart. He's round again. He's gonna get a lap here, I believe. Spin lap, sorry. He's been lapped here. And this is him losing out to Andreas, losing out to Andreas. Drive into the pit. He will. Stuart choosing to end it gracefully. Either that or he's bolting the softs. No, Stuart retires from the session. So we have now had 6 DNS from this race. A third of the field out, but we still have 2/3 remaining to shoot it out. He gives some good racing. Spoonie sticking with Hammer here, crucially for his race. We've also got Keens. He's driving up to the back of Rules here. He is. And this could bode interestingly. Rules has made a mistake somewhere down the line. He's lost some time here to Lando. Quite a lot of time. 1.5 since I last checked, just a few laps ago. And Keens is closing in here. What has happened to Rules? See if there's any damage on that McLaren car. None visually. As he tips it back in. I think maybe just having a bit of a half spin possibly. It has released Lando to hold the lead of the race, where he has been from start to finish, I believe. Yes, I believe. It won't be the first HRA Sprint Grand Slam, as the weather change made sure of that. Cannot be the first Sprint Grand Slam. It will still be a Grand Slam in Grand Prix terms, and he is only just a couple hundredths off the fastest lap here, showing plenty of strong pace. Scalan gets a penalty. Switch the gap back to interval and see that Keens is close to Rules. It was really low on ERS, and it's losing him out on exit, losing him that crucial bits of time. And as we head towards the later stages of this race, the fight for second, sorry, is still on here. And Hammer also looking to recover. Andreas has made a great drive up the field. Andreas and Hammer are the target for Hammer. But will he just settle down for this position, because it's a good one. It's a decent one for him. Andreas has a 3, so if he can wriggle his way up towards the back of Andreas. Lando goes fastest at 1:10.2. Just otherworldly pace from Lando. Keens again, he's close, but not close enough to get the DRS advantage on Rules. Is he trying to pressure Rules into a mistake of some kind? because he must see that Rules' ERS management is poor. But ultimately, Rules still with great straight line speed, despite using all of his battery all too often. His straight line speed is helping him out here greatly. And his prowess in the corners as well is allowing him, this is Rogue Nico, what's happened to Nico, A51 gets past him, Red Bull up to P9 on this recovery charge. Galan and Rogue Nico, a battle that I'm excited to watch unfold in these dying laps. See how everyone sits on penalties, which I will keep the penalty graphic for the rest of the race. So Galan only needs to be within 3 to pull points out of this race. And A51 is set to get P8. And what a recovery that would be. Keens gets a time penalty then. And in his attempt to close in and pressure Rules, he himself has a penalty. And this may and probably will affect the result of the podium. Whether it will make Rules feel like he's released to attack a bit more, whether it will make him pressure himself into getting a penalty of his own, whether it will make him underestimate the Haas behind him. We will find out in these next few laps. 6 laps to go. It will be 5 in just a moment. Fight, the only one we have on track. Stuart EA leaves the session after the horrible end to the race. Purple last sector there for Keens. He's on a charge and he is throwing the gauntlet down here in an attempt to chase after the McLaren to get this position on the track, racing for pride and for joy. Not this time, but he is close. Andreas getting close to the back of Howak as well. So we get a lovely aerial shot of these two cars pushing to their very limits in an attempt to get a podium out of it. Spoonie gets his first free of the race in the late stages. It will not affect his race. Been a quiet one for Spoonie after a spin or two here and there. This race has been about keeping it clean as much as it's been about keeping it fast. But here comes, speaking of fast, this is Keens closing very quickly to the back of Rules, and they're side by side into 1 yellow flags. That's a spin for Johnny R, and that allows A51 up to P8 on track then. On merit, Rogue Nico and Skalan, a fight that's also gone on. Rogue Nico's had a bit of a spin there and has dropped out of the points paying positions. So Johnny R's spin and his tyres being off the boil. Will Skalan be able to recover anything from this? Keens has the position then. And Andreas all over the back of Howak here. The race is coming back to life in these late stages. We have a fight for second and a fight for fourth here, as well as the penalty game. Will Keens pull that second gap in time? He's got one more corner to find 2 tenths. Will he do it? Straightens out the car on throttle. No, he's not done it. So Rules will look to respond with DRS. It won't be close enough, but he's still got the closing speed as he crossed the line under the gantry. 5 miles an hour the difference. He is close. Andreas is closer than Rules is to Keens though, as one McLaren looks to re-overtake the Haas. This one will look to outright pass Howak and try and bolt into the distance, but it's not going to be easy. Howak will move a muscle and will make Andreas fight for this one, I'm sure. Yeah, for Andreas. Apologies for that. Rules closing up to the back. Keen's trying to stick with him. He only has to stick within them 3 seconds, but he'll want to finish ahead for Pride. Although Keen's saying that we'll try. He's got a few laps and he does have the pace here. So if he can break that DRS, if he can break that toe, but Rules is set up for a straight line. That is clear to see. He is just regenerating so much more ERS from being behind, having less drag, and also he's just flying down the straights. This is going to be interesting. Andreas has made a mistake and has dropped back a bit. Hammer is closing in on this fight. I don't think it'll be enough to get truly involved in it, but he will try. Because if Awak now gets a penalty, and Andreas will also lose up to Hammer post-race as well because of his penalty, but if Awak gets a penalty now, Hammer will have recovered that P4 as Johnny R sets the fastest lap on soft tyres at the back of the grid. Will Lando be able to fight with that? Andreas just dropped out of DRS then. Rules is sticking with Keens as we get to the very end of this race. Rogue Nico and Tomboy are going to fight soon. Tomboy benefiting due to the lack of penalties compared to Rogue Nico. So he will move up a couple positions, a position into the point. May 51 set to move up to P7 after being last after the start. Johnny R being ghosted through by Lando, who starts the final lap of this race. So all Rules has to do is keep it clean and it will be another podium position for the McLaren, who has had a very strong season start to finish. He won't drop too many points to who I'm sure will be his total rival in Lando Norris. He's had decent pace today, but not enough to fight. That's a spin for Spoonie that allows A51 up into P7. So Johnny R trying to stay unlapped on Lando, who I'm sure will be getting slightly frustrated here. Scalan gets another position on Spoonie, who collects it, gets back on the track, but will now lose out as Tomboy gets to 3. This is now the fight for more than just a little bit of points. It's a fight for 2 points. But here comes Lando. I was so fixed on that fight, I didn't even notice Lando crossing the line for yet another win here. It's not the Grand Slam, but it is a win. It was a pole, and it was a drive that he will be proud of. Yet another Lando Norris win. Rules get second, Keen third. Hawak will come home in P4. Hammer has run out of fuel. This is why you don't underfuel, people. This happens. Oh, he's going to lose out. He's going to lose out. He would have got P5. But it ends up being P6 after the spin, which would have could have been finishing P4 comfortably, maybe even 3, but hey, take a bow, A51. P7 for the Red Bull driver. What a drive. Skalan. What a drive from him as well. He may have dropped 4 positions from where he started, but it was far from as easy as that. He just kept it clean. He may be receiving a post-race penalty, but I call it a 5 to be honest, and that won't move him down out of the position. So, unless it's a 10, it will be P8 for Skalan. So that is it then. That's a wrap, folks. A solid race. Andreas gets driver of the day in P5. The Hammer serving as an example yet again of why you don't underfuel. Because that happens. This man, underfueled, overfueled. Who cares? He drove away, he took the win, and he gets to spray the champagne, standing 1 step higher than anyone else. It's Lando yet again. What a good day for Williams as well. Howak just about getting off the podium, some 20 seconds behind P3. There was somewhat of a class divide in this race, but Howak will still be proud of that. It was looking set to be P5, maybe even P6 if Andreas hadn't got that penalty. Maybe he wouldn't have backed off. So there are the weekend results. Skalan picks up 9 points. Hammer picks up only a total of 9 from the whole thing. F51 did decent to recover points in the last set. Did fantastically. Zaid will get a raft of penalties because of the retirement on track. Pit lane was just a few corners away, but Lando in another world, like always. Rawls P2, Keynes P3, Howak P4 again. Good stuff for Williams. They take the most points away from the constructors. McLaren though get a decent point score as well. P3 for Haas, good to see that team up there. Hammer P6 after the spin that took him out. P4. A51 a great recovery. Skalan P8, brilliant drive from him. Tomboy as well, a great recovery, and Spoonie just about recovering the last point after the spin. And Rogue Nico comes home P11. Johnny R rounding out the back of the field with fastest lap, but sadly no point to show for it. The 12 finishers out of the 16 that 18 that took the start, I believe 17 of which were drivers, so 5 total DNS. It was a chaotic race, spins up and down the grid. As I say it all the time, this is not a good track for these cars. It makes it a fight for consistency. A fight that the top 3 really won. They really won. And so did Howak. Alright, that's going to be it from me. I really did tell it as it was. I'm going to get to bed early. Once again, if you were in and you are not on my friends list, mine being HRA League. HRA and the L of League are capital. League. Add that on EA. Send it a friend request. I'll accept them whenever I'm about to start events. Because it means if you disconnect, I can get you back in the action as soon as possible. And that is my priority. Good racing today. Decent driving standards. A couple notches, but there will always be a couple notches, especially at a track as chaotic and hectic as Brazil. It was a chaotic, hectic race. It had its dull moments, but it certainly got outshone by the bright ones. Speaking of, I'm sure this league will continue to shine in the near future, and the near future being this Friday for Division 1. I will see you then. Ciao.